Hey everybody, I'm Mike Baird, and you're not. Well, you could be. Anyway, if you're into drum stuff like I am, or you're not even into drum stuff, but you like a good story about the music business, which I've been a part of for 40 years, well, you clicked on the right channel today. Welcome to Mike's Drum Cubby. Welcome, Covers, to another episode of Mike's Drum Cubby, the channel I created for you, the Covers. Well, I got one thing to say so far today, and that is doot-doo-doo-wah, shooby-dooby. And you're like, what? Yeah, well, I know. You think, has Mike lost his mind? Well, I might have. But anyway, I just happened to be listening to the 60s channel. This is kind of a sidebar from what we're talking about today, but I just wanted to share it. So listening to the 60s channel, the Beatles came on. It was a great song. I forgot what it was. And then after that was a Johnny Rivers song called The Poor Side of Town. And at the end of that song, that was done like early 60s. And at the end of that song, that's the lyric, doot-doo-doo-wah, shooby-dooby. And I'm thinking, man, has music and lyrics changed since the 60s? Wow. Anyway, and I worked with Johnny Rivers later on in my career when I became a studio musician. Of course, that song was before me, but whatever. But I just thought I'd share that. I thought it was out there. Pretty wild. Anyway, we got a great drum today, the DW CRAVIOTTO Cherry. Fantastic drum. Low, medium, high tunings in the studio, do all that kind of good stuff. We'll talk about how I got it and all that. And then we're going to share for all the people who aren't into the drum things. We got two stories today. The first one is what I premised. I'm Mike Baird and you're not. Well, you could be. And that's going to be one. And then the other one is on Wah Wah Watson. So if you don't know who Wah Wah Watson is, episode 17, which I'm sorry I didn't label, is got Wah Wah and explains who he is, and also Chuck Rainey, the bass player. Anyway, this is a continuation of kind of another story I witnessed of Wah Wah before I became a studio musician. And it's a funny one. It's a good one. So you're going to want to stay tuned for that. So again, if you dig the channel, hit the subscribe button. Give me a thumbs up. Send me comments. Always love the comments. Anyway, without delaying this any longer, let's get to the drum, the DW CRAVIOTTO Cherry. CRAVIOTTO Cherry, 6.5 by 14. I got this one from DW when CRAVIOTTO was making the shells for them. And I wound up with this particular drum after my DW rep at the time, Scott Garrison. He had given me a CRAVIOTTO maple drum for a session I was doing, and I loved it so much. I asked him, hey, is there another one, like another shell that he thought was different but just as great? Well, this is it. The drum has all the talents of a CRAVIOTTO shell, but the cherry wood gives the top and bottom a little bit of a kicker, which is really sweet. Another reason I like this drum, because it has a tube lug, which is less mass on the drum. Not to say that the maple one I have is better or worse. The cherry just has its own personality. The drum is beautiful as well, as you can see. This, like most of the drums I have in my collection and in my videos, I use. They aren't museum pieces or just collector items. Like most solid shells, the tendency is they like to have higher tunings. However, this one, if you pat it down, it'll perform really well. It's not just a looker. So here's a traditional DW throw-off for the time. The butt end and the tube lug. DW CRAVIOTTO Cherry, low tuning. Slow. CRAVIOTTO Cherry, medium tuning. There we go. Okay, CRAVIOTTO Cherry high tuning. That's pretty high for this 6.5 by 14. Here we go. Hey, welcome back. Would anybody like to guess the weight of this drum? 7 pounds, 11 ounces. Well, so let's get to the story about I'm Mike Baird and you're not, but you might be. So back when I did the Journey tour, my drum tech was a guy named Pete Moshe. After the end of the Journey tour, he took a tour with Hall & Oates. And so when they came to town, Los Angeles, they played at the Universal Amphitheater at Universal Studios. But now it was called changed the Gibson Theater. And I don't know what it's called now, or even if it's still there. I don't even know. But anyway, it was the Universal Amphitheater. So he says, I'll get you tickets. So I'm kind of running late. The show's already started. I get up to the ticket booth. You know, there's nobody in line. So everybody's all into the concert. And the guy said, I said, I'm Mike Baird. I'm here to get my tickets. And he goes, oh, you're Mike Baird? I went, yeah. I showed him my ID. And he goes, you have to wait a minute. I'm like, is there a problem? And he says, no, there's not a problem, but somebody's coming out to see you. Okay. So I'm waiting and waiting. I don't know, about 4 minutes or so, maybe a little bit longer. I don't really remember. This guy comes towards me and he says, are you Mike Baird? And I said, yeah, I'm Mike Baird. And he goes, I'm Mike Baird. And he hands me his hand to shake his hand. His name was Mike Baird, different middle name. It was like, he goes, I just had to meet you. Sorry, I hope I didn't hang you up or whatever. So I thought that was kind of funny. So you just never know. So that kind of wraps up that story. Now let's get on to the Wah Wah story. So back before I became a studio musician, I was going to LA City College. I got the opportunity to hang with a drummer named John Guerin. Fantastic drummer. If you don't know about him, look him up. He played with Tom Scott in the LA Express. And, you know, I mean, he's done like tons of TV records, you know, all kinds of great stuff. Anyway, so on one session, and I'm pretty sure it was with him, we were down at what I thought was 20th Century Fox. And big orchestra, like 80-piece orchestra, something like that, big orchestra. And it's for a TV show called, the original TV show called SWAT. Yeah, okay. This is the second season of SWAT because it was huge, really popular. And I happened to look in the control room and there's all the suits from the studio. So that means it's a big party, right? They're coming to witness the event of their money-making show. Well, Wah-Wah Watson was a guitar player on that original theme, and of course he's there in the rhythm section. I can see him, but I didn't know who he was. John just told me, oh, that's Wah-Wah Watson, that's so-and-so on bass. It's, you know, and I don't remember who the bass player was. But anyway, they liked his part so much from the first season, and I don't know why they did this, but they'd always want to recut the theme. For some reason, I think the local 47 say you got to recut the theme. But they gave you an out. If you tried to recut it and it wasn't as good as the previous one or one of the ones that you liked, they would let you keep that one. And everybody still got paid for the theme and whatever. So they start the track 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, and they wrote this thing out. And they start playing, everybody's playing, and I'm like, wow, it's great. You know, it's big orchestra, whatever, it's cool. Rhythm section, I'm right in the midst of it. And then they stop it. Hold on, guys, hold on. Hey, Wawa, just play the paper or play the music. They started again. And he's playing whatever. It's like talkback comes on. They stop. Everybody hold it, guys. Well, this happens like 2, maybe 3 times. Finally, the composer, at least I'm guessing it's the composer, comes out. And I see him, and he comes up to Wawa and he says, "Hey, Wawa, listen, we loved your part so much in the first season. We wanted you to redo it, so we wrote it out for you." And he goes, "Man, that's the old shit. This is the new shit. Wah, 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 wah." And they're like, the guy's like, okay. And so he goes back in the booth, and the suits are like, what? Well, you can see the big question mark, like, what's going on? Whatever. So they said, okay, we're going. Let's do it. It's like a 1-take pass. It's genius. Orchestra's great. Wawa's fantastic. Whatever. It's like he just refused to play what he played in the first season. So now we fast forward. And I become a studio musician, and of course I'm working with Chuck Rainey and Wawa, quite a bit on different things and TV themes, whatever. And I bring this up to Wawa, and he just smiles. And Chuck Rainey, the bass player, goes, "Yep, that's pretty much what Wawa does. Wawa does Wawa." Anyway, I just thought I'd share that story. It's a really fun one, and it was really a really great one for me. Anyway. So we've come to the end of another episode of Mike's Drum Cubby. If you dig the channel, please hit the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber and you got a comment, you got a CRAVIOTTO cherry drum that wasn't a DW one, or you got another CRAVIOTTO solid that you dig, that's great, that you like, that's awesome. Send me a comment, give me thumbs up. We appreciate you. Well, anyway, what do we always say?
And that's it.
And we'll see you in a minute.